Hey guys, and welcome to another of my MLS offseason reviews. Now, first I want to apologize because this one will be coming a little bit later than usual due to the fact that I've had my own high school tryouts to be preparing for, and I've had those all this week. So this one should still go up on Friday, but it'll be probably late Friday afternoon. So today we're going to be talking about the Philadelphia Union. And last season they finished seventh in the East, and that wasn't necessarily the most exciting season for them. They started out fairly well, mainly due to the form of Jack McInerney, who had a really good season at the beginning. He scored so many goals. He's on fire. He scored a lot of goals. His season actually reminded me a lot of Claudio Bielor, where he started off the season scoring so many goals and then just kind of trailed off towards the end. I mean, he only scored 2 goals after he went off for that 14 and 16 or whatever it was. He's got a lot of potential, but he needs to stay consistent. I think that's a good piece for them going forward if they can really get him going consistently. So after the season ended, there was the MLS reentry draft, and in the MLS reentry draft, they picked up Corbin Bone from used to be playing for Toronto. Now, I really don't know very much about him. He only played 18 games in the last 4 years with Toronto, so there's really not much to say about it. He's a midfielder, and obviously the Union figured and thought he was talented enough to be playing for them. So we'll see what comes out of that. Then another move that was made that kind of is controversial with Michael Farfan moving to Cruz Azul. Now, there are a couple there are 3 players who moved to Cruz Azul this offseason due to moves that were kind of kept quiet when they were unveiled before the moves were actually made. We'll talk about those when we get to those respective teams, but Michael Farfan was one of those players. So he has moved on to Cruz Azul. I think that's a big loss for Philly. I really like Farfan. I think he's a good player. So we'll see what. But they did make up for it by signing Argentinian midfielder Chaco Maidana, who it seems like Argentinians are the new thing to be signing for DPS with some of the guys who have been coming into the league lately. So gotta get yourself an Argentinian. So I don't know much about him. He's bounced around a lot in his career. He played in Europe for Spartak Moscow. Just there's not much to say. Hopefully he can find a home in Philadelphia. I hope he can succeed. He looks like pretty decent talent from what I've seen on YouTube, but everybody looks good on YouTube. So another big rumor that has been going on is Maurice Edu, who that was really fueled by when they traded Jeff Park to DC United for Ethan White and the top spot in the allocation order. So now they have that top spot in the allocation order, and they needed some more allocation money to make sure they could get him. So we'll see what happens with Maurice Edu. At the moment, as I'm recording this, Maurice Edu does not play for the Philadelphia Union. So we'll see what's happening there. Now, once the draft happened, they had the second overall pick, but they wanted the first overall pick. They were one of 5 teams to try to trade up into the first overall pick who all wanted to select goalkeeper Andre Blake. Now, the Vancouver Whitecaps, who are my personal favorite team, had an agreement with DC United for the first overall pick at 11:59, and then on 11:58. Then at 11:59, 1 minute before the draft started, Philadelphia put in an offer that was accepted, and they got the first overall pick, and then they took Andre Blake. So Andre Blake, who is one of the best draft prospects in a long time, has gone to the Philadelphia Union. He's a Jamaican goalkeeper, already in the international, what's it called, lineup? Well, not starting line, but already in the international system. And he's a really good player. Now, my concern would be for them is taking him. They know he's never been quiet about his aspirations to play in Europe. So what if this is a guy you only have for a couple years before he moves on and goes and plays in Europe? That's a bit of a risk to be taking. I mean, he's a heck of a player. I think he can come in right and be the MLS starter right away, even though they just drafted a young goalkeeper a couple years ago. I mean, I think he'll come in and be the starter from day one. So then after they traded up for that, they traded down twice to get allocation money and eventually picked Pedro Ribeiro. So the allocation money is what I want to talk about first. That allocation money is probably what's going to end up helping them get Maurice Edu, because now they have that money to go after and get him. And I think Maurice Edu is going to be a big player for Philly if they can get him, because he's that defensive midfielder who's pretty strong. He's technically pretty decent as well. I like Mo Edu. I hope he can get back into the U.S. national team picture. I really enjoyed watching him, especially at the World Cup in 2010. And I think he's a talented player who could help them a lot. Now, with Ribeiro is from Coastal Carolina University, and he's an attacking midfielder who is a decent guy. Had some decent assists, and I think in 81 games he had 23 assists in his college career, which is pretty good. He scored 31 goals as well. Decent player there. I think he can be one of the hidden gems in this draft. I think Ribeiro is a good talent. I actually had a coach who played with him at Coastal Carolina, and he would always tell me that he's a really good player. So hopefully we'll see what goes there. Then in the second round, they took a defender, Robert Dershang, who is a big physical presence. Hopefully he will be able to adapt to the MLS level. He's kind of late in the draft. Again, don't know much about him. They also took Kevin Cope later in the second round, another defender who I mean, this draft was stacked with defenders. I mean, once you got to the late second round, I mean, it was just defender after defender after defender after defender, which we'll see. Hopefully, a lot of these guys can develop into MLS players. So that's kind of the offseason for the Philadelphia Union. Again, as I said, we do not know if Maurice Edu will be playing for the Union at this point. I think it's going to happen. It's probably something I will address in my MLS complete offseason review video right before the season starts. So with that, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and please come back for the next one.